All right. I think it is time. We can start with the invocation. Yes. Saraswate Namastubhyam Varade Kamarupini Vidyarambham Karishyami Siddhir Bhavatu Me Sada Vasudevam Sutam Devam Kamsachanuramardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum. Hari Om. Yes, can Hari Om ji. Namaste Sharda ji. Can someone recollect what is it that we saw last? We need to form a link so we can continue. Yes, please. Anybody? Yes, Om Prakash ji. Ji, sir.
No, I think Deepali ji wanted to say something.
No, tell.
Okay, I didn't see Deepali ji.
Please go ahead,
on.
Deepali.
Okay, Deepali ji. Yes, please. Then Om Prakash ji, after you. Yes, ji.
Lord Krishna ended sixth Adhyay telling about the yogi's next birth, which is
Okay.
always superior to
The previous one.
anybody, previous one.
Means there's
Then,
a onward progression.
Onward progression.
Okay.
Then he started seventh Adhyay with we have to focus our mind to the supreme divine only, because
Ji.
this yogic path will create our next birth very powerful, etc. Then Sri Krishna tells about the 8 material components, that Pancha Mahabhuta and mind, intellect, and ego. Then
Ji.
he
Ashtada, it's called Ashtada
Ashtada
Prakriti,
Ashtada
isn't it?
Prakriti.
It
Then
is
he
called
tells
inferior
that
part.
he is superior than this, that is Jivatman, that is the last energy.
Prana, the
He
energy
is
of
the
the
fragrance,
divine.
energy of the divine. He is the fragrance of earth. He is the source of water, taste of water. He is the brilliance in Agni. He is
Ji.
the sacred Om, and he is all in all. He is the creator and he is the destroyer. Then
Ji.
he tells about the Sattva, Raja, Tama, Triguna,
Okay.
and which forms Maya, and we have to overcome this Maya, and
Okay.
how that will be proceed further.
All right. I think, okay, Deepali ji. Thank you very much. Om Prakash ji, would you like to add something to what Deepali ji has shared? Yes, sir. Please unmute ji.
Yeah. Actually, just 1 or 2 points I wanted to add.
Ji.
That Krishna also says that 1,000 seek perfection, but only 1 or 2 can make it.
Yes.
To the, and also he says, I am the seed. And,
Bijam. Avyayam.
everything, everybody is coming through that. All
Yes.
the, and one more thing he says that upholding dharma is that desire is okay. I mean,
not wrong. It is not wrong.
It is not
We
wrong.
should have that desire, isn't it? If something unrighteous is happening, we cannot absolutely allow that to go on. We have to uphold our dharma. There is some, you have to understand what is that dharma that will come with a stable mind. Yes, sir. Please go on.
And one more thing, what was said was that I'm the sutra connecting all these beats. This.
Sutre Manigana Iva, Krishna says. Yes.
Yeah. This is what I wanted to add.
All right, sir. Okay, so thank you very much. I think this was one more beautiful part of the shloka where Krishna is saying every individual is like a beautiful pearl. In a pearl necklace, the sutra connects all of them. Maybe we may not be directly connected with each other, but there is the Krishna Tattva, the Krishna Sutra, which is connecting each one of us, all living beings, whether we are conscious or unconscious. Krishna says that is the connecting link. People can call it by any name. Some people say, I don't believe in the divine. I believe in humanity. Some people say nature. Some people say something else. Whatever it is, there is one common factor which is connecting all. And Krishna tells Arjuna that it is I. And that was one thing he said. And adding further to what Deepalji said, so the energies of the divine which manifest, the ones which manifest in the Srishti are of 2 types. One is called the Ashtada Prakriti, and the other is that force of the divine which becomes the prana, which becomes the source of life. Krishna says the Ashtada Prakriti, if we were to do a classification, Ashtadha Prakriti is one step lower than this force, meaning the will of the inner spirit. It is sometimes powerful, more powerful than the Ashtadha Prakriti also. This has been proven by Hatha Yogis, isn't it? Hatha Yogis do what type of crazy sadhana? It's like we get hypothermia if we don't wear warm clothes and go to a hill station. But these yogis, they are just sitting and doing dhyana, even in sub-zero temperature, and still their bodily functions are not getting disrupted. We almost feel it's not humanly possible. How? What? Well, that is the higher force which they have connected with. So there are two forces in the Vishwa. Krishna says one is the higher, the other is the lower. But both are all mine only. They come from me. If you try to do an addition, I think in this batch nobody has asked the question about Jivatman, because they say if the soul is getting what about the increase in number of souls calculation? But it is not a Boolean addition. 1 plus 1 is equal to 2. Mathematical, there is something called in physics also, isn't it? There is a law for classical physics. There is another law for quantum physics. Classical physics laws won't apply here. Something like that. The metaphysical is like 0 by 0. Can anybody tell me what is 0 by 0? Mathematics says, isn't it? Any number divided by itself is 1. So if we divide 0 by 0, yes? What is it? Is it infinity or is it undefined? It's actually, I think, undefined.
It's undefined. It's undefined.
Absolutely. Yes, in mathematical terms, it is undefined because infinity also has its role when we do the calculus there. But undefined, you cannot function with it at all. How do you understand it? In Sanskrit, there's a beautiful shloka. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. You take out Purna from Purna, it remains Purna. You add Purna to Purna, it will still remain Purna. So you add what is this? It is similar to they say India's greatest contribution to the world. Of course, the times have changed. But when I was growing up in my school, my teacher also, we have only contributed this only. We have contributed 0 or nothing. Now we are understanding this Shunya is also Purna. What is called nothing is also called everything. And that understanding is something higher. And Krishna says the divine is present, cosmically connecting every living being. Even people we don't like also, they are connected to us through Krishna. That is one thing we must realize. Krishna goes on. He's there everywhere. Where do you recognize him? Well, in the purest essence, in the purest fragrance, in the waters, water also has a taste. Drink water in your house, it tastes different. Somewhere else, it gets a different taste. But the original taste, that is Krishna is saying, it is I am in the Omkar. Why? That is why Omkar Nad is said to be special. We believe everything is begin everything with Om, isn't it? Pranava Sarva Vedeshu. It is a Bija mantra, it is a Pranava. It is like a vehicle for any mantra also. In the state, like a Digbandha, starting and ending. It is connected with Om. So Om is, I am in that primary sound. Krishna says, I am the seed, I am the strength. I am also in the Kama. He says, I am in the process of procreation also, when it is devoid of passion and attachment. It's a divine process. He's saying, I am there also. I am also in Dharma. I am the desire to uphold Dharma, which is not wrong. Upholding Dharma is a desire all of us must have. This need not be taught to anybody. Best example for us of people upholding Dharma are those youngsters, those Javans, all of them at the age of 19, at the age of very tender ages, just joining into the army. And when they find, okay, infiltration is there, then they start fighting. I'll go there. I'll go first to face the enemy. Not knowing how many enemies are there, not knowing if they will come back alive or not. But it is for the Dharma. Which Dharma? Rashtra Dharma. And what do they get in return? There's no guarantee they'll get anything in return. Many times, even after becoming martyrs, what happens? The society ill-treats. The society ill-treats these great Javans' family members. Nobody cares, but they don't think about it because they have an idea of Dharma. And because of their sacrifice, people are able to see their dreams, people are able to go to sleep, people are able to live their lives. This is why they say it's a sutra. Dharmo Rakshati Rakshita. Just now, irrespective of all the treaties that are signed, maybe we get into a beautiful understanding which is almost poetic with all our neighbors. And suddenly for one day, our border forces decide, okay, let's withdraw in solitude, let us just go, what's going to happen? All sides, India will be having invasions only. So they have to keep doing. Maybe they understand this is not directly contributing to something or not, but upholding dharma, they have understood. Like that, each person has a dharma. One person is born with a dharma. It is called swadharma, which has to be found. When you find that, you are also actually, when you realize it, you are almost closest to liberation. That is the fastest way for moksha as well, recognizing your swadharma. Krishna goes on. He talks about three gunas: Rajas, Tamas, and Sattva. For the first time, the three gunas have been introduced, but one guna has been introduced before. Can someone tell me? Where did we see? In the Gita, before one of these three gunas has been introduced. Can anyone recollect? In one of
Rajas.
the chapters?
Rajas,
Yes, sir.
Rajas.
Yes, sir. Where do you recollect something about it, sir? Kulkarni-ji?
Rajas gun was introduced.
Yes, sir. So Rajas Gun was introduced. When Arjuna asked this question, when Krishna is telling everybody is divine, immediately Arjuna has a skeptical question. He says, if everybody has that divinity inside, from where is this
Why?
energy coming to go against the human nature and do sin? Where is it? That time Krishna replies, Kama esha, Krodha esha, Rajo Guna Samudbhavam. Means from this Rajas. Mahashano Mahapapma. This is the biggest. It is in a moment. Rajas Guna empowers a person. So these are the Nitya Vairi. These are the enemies that have to be slain. That is inside. We've been introduced to Rajas. Today, all three gunas have been just touched upon. Rajas is called passion. Ignorance is called tamas. Goodness is called sattva. We'll just see that later on. It is from me, meaning these gunas also, let's not consider them useless. They have come from the divine, means there is a purpose. It has been introduced. There is a purpose. All these gunas also function inside. Just because one guna is not very ideal does not mean we need to reject them also. We will see their roles later on. But Krishna says these three gunas have originated from me. Though I exist in their oneness, even though all exist within my oneness, I exist not in their outer form. Meaning on the surface, everything has originated from me, but on the surface, when somebody is angry, you cannot say that person is divine. What has happened to the divine Atman inside of a cranky, angry person? It has got hidden behind these gunas. Means the divine is there inside only, but the gunas are covering the divine. Means see how powerful it is, or how powerful God has created a system like that, where he is also being hidden. By what? His own created Prakriti, his own gunas. And this is what is called Maya. Maya is preventing us from realizing the divinity, which is omnipresent everywhere. It is, Krishna says, the world has never pondered. Isn't it? Does the world think it is important to realize God? Never, because it is lost in its own activities. In the flux of activities, it doesn't feel. Anybody also, if you see, why do we turn? Mostly we turn because of some kind of, it's a curiosity to search. But where does that curiosity come from? We don't know if it's been planted naturally inside of us, or it is something we are carrying forward from the beginning. Sometimes it's a journey which is going on. As Krishna says, it may be a sadhana which is going on. Some people realize at different times. But like there was one participant in the COVID time, he read the Gita. He said, for nearly 10 years, I have been traveling with the Bhagavad Gita with me. I travel a lot. He was a businessman. So he would travel with the Bhagavad Gita in the flight. Why? Because he said, at least I'll have the punya of having the Gita if something happens in the flight also. That was what he said. But he did not read that book. Means the book was with him. His father had given it to him. It was so important. From an important person, he's received it. But he did not read it. What is the reason? The only reason he didn't read it is because there was a wheel of Maya. When that moment came, when he wanted to, he turned inside. Then he connected. Then his heart is happily singing in praise of Krishna also. The transformation automatically took place. For me also. My mother wanted me to read the Gita when I was in college. But that time I was in a hurry to get my MSc. I was imagining my life to be elsewhere, and I was planning a different career. That time when my mother would tell me, I would actually close my ears and say, no, ma, I don't want. I'm busy right now. Now, last 3 years, I've only been talking about Gita, and she must be getting irritated also. or maybe not, because she keeps attending sessions also. But what I say is, this is Maya. We don't realize it. Maya covers very subtly, very covertly. We saw the story of Narad Muni also yesterday. Look at Narada. Narada is already a Jivan Mukta kind of state only. Even he could get trapped in Maya. Means we should not say, yes, I'm too smart for God. I cannot be trapped by Maya. Let's never say that. This is what Krishna says. And the problem with Maya is the same problem in the Narada story. What happens? When you are doing everything, you are in the trouble, because everything is on your head only, and you imagine you are the creator and destroyer of everything. We cannot be like that, isn't it? What is the aim in our life is we have to do our karma, but we are not in control of all the factors that govern us. That is something. And so Krishna says this engulfs every creation. Maya governs every single person. Crossing beyond the veil of Maya is very hard, but only by crossing it can you approach me. Many people dismiss the entire creation as Maya. So there's nothing in the world. No, that's not the truth. Maya also is Maya api parabrahma prasantasya santarupinam. From the Brahma only Maya has been created. Through the Maya, we have to pierce and identify the truth. Through that thin veil, which can be shed by sadhana, which can be shed by Guru Krupa, which can be shed by Krishna Krupa, Isha Krupa, whatever name you want to say, by connecting. And remember the story when there was a desperate cry from Narada, from the soul, from the spirit, inner voice. It's just called out to Krishna, and suddenly he realized all of this. This was just an imagination. It really did not happen. He got free from that trap. Something like that. Even our soul, they say in Sri Aurobindo's philosophy, they call it Chaitya Purush, the inner psychic being. It is there inside everyone. Maybe we may be conscious of it when we go to some beautiful retreat, some nature. Some people enjoy the presence of nature. There, suddenly you feel a different, what we can say, anubhuti, some different feeling, some quietude. Or some people when they dance, some people when they sing, some people when they draw, art, write. The inner spirit reflects and releases. Well, this is what happens when you release yourself. Then Maya will not trap you, and your spirit can actually manifest much better, and you can, manifest a lot of things. It is said, whatever talents which are not there also can get manifested. That is, the soil is fertile and any seed can be planted. But the planter has to be divine and not the ahankar coming out of the Ashtada Prakruti. Let us go on. Krishna says, he says, let us continue. The 15th shloka. Before that, let us just look at the illustration once. I'll just share the illustration and yes. Can you see the image right now? Yes. Can someone describe what is there in this image? Anybody? Yes. Yes, anyone?
As the proverb goes, sharing is caring.
Yes,
Yeah.
Rekhaji.
As
What did
the
you say?
proverb goes, sharing is caring.
Sharing is caring. All right. That's okay. So that is one nice proverb. Badrinaranji, yes, sir.
Yeah, here there is a sharing, so it shows that there is divinity in every being whenever they
Okay.
do such acts, and that is
Okay.
why divinity.
Yes,
There is
yes.
a divinity.
All right. Okay, Ji. Yes, Ji. Anybody would like to add? Yes, please. Yes, Akhilesh Ji.
The image shows that there's two birds sitting on a branch and one bird is feeding another bird food.
Okay. And yes, Chitra Ji. Yes, please.
So what I see in this is nobody teaches these birds, right? They have to.
Yes.
I mean, so this is something that is God's creation that nobody
It's
goes and teaches them that you have to take care of each other or whatever it is. So basically, some such acts ensure that there is divine present in
okay. So we can
history.
recognize the divine presence, and these are all which happen naturally. That's also an interesting point, isn't it? Who teaches nature everything? Who is giving that parenting? I think adults and a lot of people go for how do I become a good parent. They try to understand and learn. But in nature, who is teaching the plants? Who's teaching the animals? Who's teaching the birds? Well, that is exactly, we can recognize the divine if we want to see in the world, in the Vishwa. If you look at the tagline below, whatever is finest and pure in the world, we can simply understand and recognize it to be essentially divine, meaning whatever is finest.
Yeah, I think.
Somebody- Yes.
I mean, the finest and pure also refers to it's actually a mother bird kind of feeding its child. So,
Yes.
and that's without any expectation, as you know, the mother's love is like that. So
Yes.
it's finest and purest in the world. One of the things that is finest and purest you can call is the mother's love.
Yes, yes. So mother's love. So like that, this is divine. It is something which is absolutely what we can say beyond what we can say human. And that is how, if you see, there are so many saints that they have talked about recognizing the divine in the universe. If you don't recognize in this world, which other world you are going to go and search for the divine? It's present here. We have to realize it. Tukaram had also said the same thing. Divyatvachi jethi prachiti tethe kara majhe zurati. Meaning wherever I see the divine, there my hands will not hesitate to fold and bow at divinity. Wherever it can be. If you see in the Varkari Sampradaya, even the adults will touch the feet of the young ones. Age is not at all recognize Panduranga in each other and they go on. Something like that. In this world, whatever is finest, whatever is purest, like somebody said, I think Chitraji said about how nature, the beauty of nature, this sweetness of nature, or how Shivaji talked about the mother's love. That is also beautiful. That's also divine. Yes, Kulkarni ji wants to add something. Yes, sir.
Smile of a small baby.
Smile of a baby.
It's very
Absolutely,
divine.
absolutely.
Divine.
Yes,
Pure
yes,
divine.
yes. Sri Aurobindo has written a nice poem called Who? And who is that? The divine. In that he beautifully describes in the coy smile of a bride, in the beautiful, in the child's play, in different places, the divine can be identified. Well, maybe when we come out of this trap of Maya, maybe we can easily see the divine. Sometimes you don't have to teach anybody that is there divine or not. There's a story of a king who didn't want his son to learn about divine, that he had given a warning to all the teachers. If you teach my son anything about God, I'll have you executed. And let my son learn only practical things. I don't want him to learn anything about all of this God and stuff like that. The teachers were afraid. They wanted to save their life. So they did not talk about God at all, not even once, throughout his education. But one day in the palace, he saw his son. His son was staring out of the window with his hands folded and doing a namaskar. The king got insulted. He called the teachers. He said, "Now I'm going to cut your head. Who has taught? Who taught him about God?" So they really, please, you want to give us punishment, you give, but we will not lie. I did not teach. The other person says, I also didn't teach. Then how is he learning this? Who taught him this? Then please go and ask him. That time he goes and he says, "Son, where did you learn this foolish thing of bowing to an unknown force? Your father here is the king. He owns the entire tracts of land, all the men. You can get everything. I can give you whatever you desire. I have all the wealth in this kingdom. It's mine only. Instead of bowing to me, why are you bowing there?" The son very beautifully asked, "Father, I was bowing to the beautiful creator who created the sun, the mountains, this beautiful nature. Surely you did not create it." The father is bold because the son has told a very big truth. So, but you see, father is trapped in Maya, son is out of Maya. This happens. Even yogis sometimes get trapped in Maya. That is the trick. And Krishna says, yes, just come out of it. Krishna says, "Namam dushkrutino mudhaha prapadyante naradhamaha mayayapa ritagnyana asuram bhavam mashrita." When they get trapped in Maya, that is where ordinary individuals start going towards the Asuri side. They go into lower tendencies and worse natures. Krishna says, the foolish and the evil do not attain me. There's not a curse of Krishna, it's just a consequence of walking away from the light. Krishna says, the foolish and evil do not attain me, for in their bewilderment, the truth they do not see. Disillusioned by Maya, they resort to base means, governed by the lower nature of the demonic realms. So Krishna says, this Asuri nature If you tell somebody who is having just, if you ask an alcoholic, leave your alcohol and go worship the divine. It's a, my divine is here inside of this bottle. What useless person, you come near me, I'll break your head with this bottle only if you come one more step closer. I will live by this, I will die by this. That's how a person, that is what, this is only Asura. We don't have to imagine Asura to be having horns or having a different, it is just, we can say truth, in front of truth, everybody bows. If you see in the Rigveda, Rashmimantam Samudyantam Devasura Namaskrutam Pujayami Vivaswantam Bhaskaram Bhuvaneshwaram. Meaning even everybody will, they fall in front of the truth. Means they surrender to the truth. When the truth manifests, falsehood cannot. But for that truth to manifest, that soul must be receptive. If the soul purposely tries to not be receptive, then there is a karma bandhana and that marga. It's a choice. This is the beauty of human life. This is the beauty of the Prakriti and creation also. Because many times I think there was one participant, she had asked about why is God doing this? Why is God not allowing us to take us to the right path? If that was all decided, then what happens to why is there a Srishti only? Isn't it? The choice is vested in our hands. We have a choice to move this way, right or left. Otherwise, we would all be programs. We would all be algorithms only in some divine system. The human existence is a very precious existence. Many people recognize that this is the beautiful aspect of human life. There's a great uncertainty, there's a great unpredictability, and there is also a covert evolution of the divine taking place in the world for a higher purpose. We don't know what that does. We can call him mad scientist or whatever we want. Tukaram, I think, called him Veda Kumbhar. Vithala, you're a mad potter because you're playing with these 5 elements. Panchamahabhutas, you're like the potter also plays with 5 elements and makes one pot. And then he breaks the pot. We don't know why he breaks the pot, why he makes the pot, what is he getting from it. That's his game. So something like that, this Rishti is functioning according to it. Somebody who says, no, I will not try to rise beyond my desires. I will remain enslaved to my desire. Such a person gets more and more entrenched in Maya. Meaning Maya catches us through our desires. That is one thing we have to be careful of. And because of the lower natures, people do wrong things. One lady, because of her desire for biryani, she went and broke buses. Lakhs of rupees damage. Then she got caught on CCTV camera. She had no idea why she did. She didn't know anything, owner of the bus or anything. Somebody told her, go break this bus, I'll give you 1 plate of biryani. She didn't even get her biryani also, but her life is now in jail. What has happened here? One individual who is if you see a divine soul, even that lady may be a divine, it is a divine person. But look at that divine person has sold oneself, misused the body for a small, simple desire. But see what happens with desires. That's what Krishna is talking about. He goes on further. He says, Chaturveda bhajante mam janaha sukruti norjuna arto jignyasurartharthi jnani cha bharatarshava. Amongst the pure ones who their devotion offer, 4-fold are the ones who to me surrender. The suffering, the seekers of the greater good, the knowledge seekers and devotees, by whom I am understood. So Krishna says even the sadhana which people go, they walk on one of the 4 ways only. Means because we have a human nature, the way we will choose one of these 4 ways. One is, Krishna is saying, one, through suffering, they try to realize the divine through suffering. They get moved by the suffering and they try to connect through the suffering to the divine. That is one. Another person, the seekers of greater good. Meaning, I want to do Loka Sangraha, I will do brilliant things for the world, I want to do it. And I will realize my God through this method only. So that is one more marga which people choose. Then there are the others. I want to realize the Brahman. I want to realize the divine using knowledge. Knowledge becomes their path. Through knowledge, they try to realize the divine. It is like, I am Atma Brahma. This realization of Mahavakya, they want to go into that. Something like that. And the 4th, one more is the devotees. They feel through bhakti bhava. Through bhakti, I'll surrender to the divine. That is my path. So it's very interesting that even if we decide to walk the spiritual path, we may walk in one of these 4 ways which are already been paved. Means this Prakriti, it's like, they say, he who chooses the divine is also chosen by the divine. Meaning the marga has already been laid for a person and the person is just walking. It's a very interesting aspect, which is why people have these questions. Then where comes the human will? If everything is predestined, or is there a role for human will? Yes, the Gita also talks about. Otherwise, there was no need for Arjuna to be listening to such a big sermon. All Krishna had to do was he could have just done like this. Arjuna would have realized, yes, I'll fight now. Okay. No, the human has to rise. These are the challenges. And I think life is very boring without the challenges. We will not be what we are if you remove the challenges in your life. Well, sadhana also is like that. And this is something, it's a journey. It's a beautiful metaphysical journey of life Krishna is talking about. He goes on further. Excuse me. Tesham myani nitya yukta eka bhaktir vishishyate priyo hi jnanino tyartham aham sacha mama priya. Amongst all of these, Krishna says, amongst them is the Noah who is in divine union with a single-minded devotion. He engages in my communion. And to that wise Noah, I am most dear. To me too, he is most beloved and near. Krishna says, among all these people who walk in the path, there is one who is always in the company of the divine with a single-minded devotion. That is why it is said, Eka Devo Bhava. What is the need for that? We have so many Ishta, Aradhya, but connect with why they choose only one Ishta Devat. Because with single-minded devotion, with a firm Drudha Nishta, then you start walking on your path. Many times when the Guru Diksha is also given, the Guru identifies which Devat is right for this person and connects that Devat to this Shishya to that Devat. So the sadhana can go ahead. It is so important to have that one-minded devotion. And Krishna says that greatest one, that person, he says, he has understood me and my principles. And because he has understood it, he is like in a communion with the divine. He's like Krishna. The person is only while he's making some food also, he'll have a communion, some kind of dialogue. Wherever that person is going, he's going to have that communication with the divine because he's conscious of the presence. And he is most dear to me. And to me too, he is very dear. Yes, Dipaliji wants to ask or share something. Yes, Ji.
There is one famous OV in Haripat.
Ji.
Devachiye dwari ubha kshana
Ubha tene mukti
chari.
chari. Yes,
That fraction of second with pure mind and total devotion can give
Yes.
you any 4 types of mukti: Salokya, Sarvapya, Samipya, or
Yes.
Sayujya mukti.
Yes. So there's a beautiful one. This is Jnaneshwar's
Jnaneshwar.
beautiful realization. And such a young soul, Jivatman, he's called Mauli or mother by everybody. Because he says, Devachiya Dwari, and for one moment at the gate or the doors of the divine, all 4 muktis can be got. And since Dipalji has talked about it, it's like there is something called Samipata, nearness to the divine. That is one of the mukti where you start recognizing your oneness, nearness to the divine. Means God is not far away from me. What a beautiful realization is. Samipata, then Salokata. Salokata means now there's not just nearness. There's familiarity with the divine also. I'm understanding the divine's work. I understood why this event happened, why this unfavorable event happened also. I can watch the divine thing functioning because now I'm familiar. This is that. There was one participant, Mr. Venugopalji, he is no more right now, but he was a very senior person with bad health. But still, he would say Krishna is Joker. That Joker is up to something. And he was so senior. And everybody in our Delight family, nobody could tell him, don't call him Joker. You cannot, because it's not disrespectful or no, but that's his association. He got a fracture on his leg and he said, no, see, he put something in between and he wanted me to experience that pain. Well, something like that. And it was his last audio also before going also was a fully one, it gave a lot of goosebumps to everybody. It was a liberated person's words only. Such a big commentary. And he would never show his knowledge was always hidden. He never displayed it also. So there's Samipata, there is Salokata, then there's Swarupata, meaning the person, the bhakta's form starts appearing like the divine. People begin to see the darshan of the divine and that difference will not be there. Swarupata, that is oneness. And then finally Sayujya. Finally, there is now no divine and Nara Narayana, no difference. That line only has separated. Well, this, he said, young Jnaneshwar said, Jnaneshwar Mauli said that at one moment at the door of the divine, Maybe we can try, we can go to any temple. Or the heart temple is always open for everybody. But if that you want to go to some Devat's Jajwalya place also, go with that bhakti and try to experience. The experience is awaiting. So yes, that's what Krishna is saying. So that person who is having a communion with the divine, he is very near to me, and I am also most dear to him. He is dear to me and I am dear to him. That's what he said. Krishna goes on further. Udaraha sarva evaite jnani tvatmaiva me matam astitaha sahi yuktatma mameva nuttamam gatim. Excuse me. All these beings are most definitely worthy. But amongst them, I consider him most noteworthy. Meaning Krishna is saying this person is very special or this person is most noteworthy. Means in Krishna has a big record of everybody. And in his record, he says, no, I have put a star next to this person. What is that? Well, he's saying this person is most noteworthy according to me. He who seeks my union as his life's ambition, for he dwells in the awakened state's condition. Meaning, I want to realize the divine. I want to become one with the divine. This becomes the ambition of the person. Means that is the only sole ambition, sole preoccupation, everything of that person. Krishna says, such a person is most noteworthy. It's so difficult, isn't it? We all have our IDs, we all have our outer attachments, our relations, everything. Krishna is not asking us to break all of it. But yes, all of these are beautiful, all of these are special. But my aspiration is that highest one. Like it is said, low aim is a crime. Well, this is the highest aim. Somebody who gets that realization. Krishna is saying, if that is the ambition, that is really noteworthy Atman. And that is the one divine chooses for doing great works also. Because divine is not in a hurry to bring back. It's not like children have been sent to school and then children cry, Mama, I want to come back home, and the parent comes and picks up. No, they've been sent for a purpose. So like that, all Jivatmans are born with a purpose. Each individual, we all have that potential of realizing a divine purpose of our life. And Krishna says, somebody who is really confident of it or is conscious right from the beginning, well, that person is noteworthy. Krishna goes on further. He says, Bahunam janmanamante jnanavan mam prapadyate vasudevaha sarvamiti samahatma sudurlabham durlabhaha. After many successive births, can this fortune arise? When the divine is perceived through the mortal eyes, meaning that realization can come. It doesn't come so easily. Sometimes it requires tapasya of several births, which we are not aware of also. We don't know. Suddenly, one fine moment, we might realize also it has nothing to do with our current birth or our current understanding, anything. It is a Jivatman which is carrying a big chain of experiences, which we have not yet tapped into. Krishna says, after many births, can this fortune arise? When the divine is perceived through the mortal eyes, very rare and blessed indeed is that seeking soul who speaks, who experiences the divine's omniscience as a whole. That person who experiences that Vasudevam Sarvamiti. I would just suggest you all just Google the experience of Sri Aurobindo in Alipur prison. The words which he has spoken about what he experienced, that was absolutely overwhelming. The real experience of what is Vasudevam Sarvamiti. Well, that Krishna says it's a very rare blessing. Very rare can somebody actually experience that. This is possible. This is actually possible, and we don't have to, give our own mental calculation or criteria. This will come after I complete these many japas, or this will come after I do one sadhana on top of this mountain for these many years. No, there is no logic like that. We have to assign just growth in consciousness. When it happens, threshold is reached, when the realization comes. It can come to anybody, anytime. One participant had shared her grandmother's experience, where her grandmother was serving everybody on Vaikunta Ekadashi day, doing all the works. Very pious, very sacred lady. Everybody respected her, but she didn't get time to leave her home because she was serving and doing all the duties of her house. For her Daivat was in the house only. That particular day, after feeding all the guests, she tells her granddaughter, my Vimana has come. That's all. And she goes after that, and the daughter still remembers, and daughter is also a grandmother. She was a grandmother during Corona time. She shared her experience that time. So that is an experience of a soul. Now, who is there? It's a lived experience. Why should one lady who is like just aged my grandmother lie to me about her grandmother in front of everybody else? But it is a lived experience, and this is something which her entire family, everybody felt blessed by her, that Punyatma born in their family, and they have a beautiful lineage which is going on. They do service to everybody, and they are always connected with that divine. Well, this is something which happens. Krishna says, after many births, that moment comes. He says, Krishna goes on, but कामैस्तैस्तैर्ऋतज्ञानाः प्रपद्यन्ते अन्यदेवताः तं तं नियममास्थाय प्रकृत्या नियताः स्वया. By various outer desires, many seekers are misled. Who? Many seekers are misled. Who, to fulfill their desires, seek the personal Godhead, and to demigods by conditions and rules they bind arbitrarily based upon the nature of their mind. भगवान ये मेरी परीक्षा नहीं है, ये तुम्हारी परीक्षा है. This dialogue, this example, you are binding the divine. Who is the divine? Divine is creator. Like my friend, he would give coconuts. Give me good marks, I'll give you coconut. Now is God greedy for the coconut? Or can God not get all the coconuts in the world? They are his only. And who is this boy to give the coconuts? But these are all arbitrary conditions created by which Shastra? Not Shastra, by the mental calculation. This is the nature of the mind. Arbitrary rules, arbitrary logic. Mind functions according to it. If you see Vasudeva is already in what we can say the great on the Shesha, he's resting so peacefully, and he is in what we can say this beautiful already milky ocean. He is there, Akash Ganga. He is already beautifully resting there. Can we say now, until this Pravrat is fulfilled, I will not take you out of this plate of water? Is he going to get afraid of drowning now in this plate because you have put him in this plate? And oh, no, I'll fulfill your pressure, your wish. And these are all arbitrary conditions. We are not going to make fun of anybody. If they do it also, they have the right. Shraddha, Krishna says, don't touch anybody's Shraddha. But many times, we, because of our human nature, because of our limitations, assign arbitrary conditions to the Devata. They say, no, don't worship Ma Saraswati, worship Ma Lakshmi first. What's the use of wisdom? Get wealth, then we will see something else. Or no, go to Kubera. Kubera is better. If you pray to Shiva, you will get you will get Vairagya only. You will not be successful in business. So don't pray to him. These are all what kind of rules? These are arbitrary. Kubera worshipped Shiva only. He got the blessing from Shiva. But no, mind plays that. Like I went in search of Bilva Patra. The lady who was selling Bilva Patra, who was not, I mean, the lady at the Perumal Koil or Vishnu temple got insulted that I asked her for Bilva Patra, as if this is an insult to Vishnu that I am asking for Bilva Patra in his temple, which is meant to be exclusively for Shiva. Well, this is an arbitrary assignment which comes because of human nature. Human nature has this problem. Everywhere it puts its rule, everywhere it puts its logic. Even on Adhyatmic Marga, when they start, no, God, I have walked this path. Now, these many years I have done this much japa. They have been calculating how many japas I have done. This should lead to awakening of this particular chakra for me. Then this chakra should rotate. Then we will decide what is the RPM of that chakra also. Rotation. What is this? We cannot. But mind keeps doing that, and Krishna says this is the nature. Why is it done though? Because of outer desires. People are misled by their desires. So they even put conditions. Desires makes people put condition in their relationships also. Well, it's with the Devat also. Same, because of desires, they mislead them, the desires mislead them, and they assign conditions arbitrarily. Krishna goes on. But he says, Yo yam tanum bhaktaha shraddhayar chitim shraddhayar chitum ichchati tasya chalam shraddham tameva vidadhamyaham. Krishna says, whatever form of mind that the devotees choose, their devotions to me, I do not refuse. I ensure that their confidence remains firm and their faith in their desired forms, I only affirm. So Krishna says, whichever form you choose, whichever form, I'm not fussy at all. He says, even if you say, imagine that, no, I imagine Krishna with a horn, one horn only. He'll say, all right, I may give you darshan also that whichever form you want, because he is not caring about that. He says, what is he interested in? He's interested in the bhakti, he's interested in the shraddha of the seeker. He says, I do not refuse their devotion. And he also says, I ensure that the confidence remains firm and their faith in their desired forms, I only affirm. My only question is, when Krishna has told us, Mam Phaleshu Kadachanam, in our everyday actions, in prayers, are we allowed? Like you can ask for desires. Can desires drive our prayers? Material world, okay, fine. We're not asking for fruits. But what about our prayers? Anybody? Can we toss that rule away? The rule of Karma Yoga when we are doing prarthana? Yes? Anybody?
I think
Anyone? What do you think?
The desire for the divine is, I think, allowed.
Desire for divine is allowed, but desire for fruits, Krishna, do this, give me promotion. Krishna, I want this promotion. Whatever happens, I will do this much japa. Give me this promotion.
No.
No, isn't it? But it is again, it is a desire. We don't know. Maybe Krishna is not wanting to give us promotion and he wants something better, and we get promotion and then we get a new headache which we had not imagined, and you be wondering, why did I pray for this? Many times it happens with desires. What we desire so strongly 5 years back, 10 years back, it makes no difference. Sometimes even one moment ago, I had this desire. Now the desires, actually, we are now completely against that. We don't want it. So Krishna says, but he says, I still allow. He says, it's like the parent. A parent, when he's raising the children, sometimes children make little mistakes. If they're not very serious, they overlook it, they allow it. Like that, Krishna says, I allow. Means my friend maybe had a connection with the divine when he offered a coconut for his maths exam. He got good marks. Everybody actually wondered whether that Adhyay was really giving good marks because of coconut and started offering. They didn't get that experience which he got. Meaning that bhavana and shraddha with him, that was his particular pact with the divine. And what happened to him? He felt so overwhelmed that my prayer has been accepted by the divine, that he worked extra hard for his exam also and he continued on his path. Meaning it helped in his growth, and Krishna says, I do the same thing. He says, I ensure that their confidence remains firm and their faith in their desired forms I only affirm. Why does he do this? Why does he do it? It is clear in the next shloka. He says, Sataya shraddhaya yuktas tasya radhanam ihate labate cha tadha kaman mayaiva vihitan hitan. Enthused with this faith, his devotion he pursues, and a force in his worship I then infuse. Even though through faith objects he seeks, when fulfilled, they are my fruits that he keeps. So Krishna is saying, I allow this because at least by that nature, at least because of this nimitta, you are connecting with the divine and that will lead to your growth. So he says, I allow that person to grow. He says that. But what happens with such fruits? Krishna goes on further. He says, Antavattu phalam tesham tad bhavatyalpamedhasam devan devayajo yanti mad bhakta yanti mamapi. But these fruits are temporary and do not last long, for their founding reasons are petty and not strong. Meaning these fruits also, which they get, fine, that is a beautiful moment. Like I know of a friend, he asked for a date. That was his entire aspiration. He got that. Nothing went out after that date, nothing went ahead is a different story. But because his simple prayer got accepted, he felt, oh my God, this prayer is also being accepted by the divine. Now I will always follow this dear divine. This kind of connection, this is because of gratitude coming into that person because of that experience. And for somebody else, it may sound very silly. But for that person who is experiencing, it is like that. But they are all temporary. They do not last long. These are all temporary fruits. Like I talked about my friend in school. That time he used to offer coconuts. Now he's married, he's got children. I don't think he goes now after the same Devat and says, I'll give you coconut, nice coconut, give me this in return. Because now he's raised in consciousness. That is no more important to him right now. But that did its role. That time it was his connection with the divine. Something like that. Krishna says, I ensure. So it's not wrong. We'll not have to say it's wrong, because if children don't ask to parents, whom will children ask? But when the children say, no, मुझे chocolate नहीं मिला तो मैं homework नहीं करूंगा या करूंगी, then it's a problem. then the shasan will be done by the divine. Something like that. Our desires, it's all right. It's all right. If we don't ask divine, whom will we ask? We have little dil hai chota sa, choti si asha, something like that. Fine. Small prayers, you have the right to ask. But don't make it arbitrary or with a condition. It is best. Sometimes it is said the best prayer is just Dhanyosmi or thank you. Thank you. That is the best prayer that can come out from the heart. And that itself is the most powerful prayer. But let us continue. Krishna says, these are temporary, these fruits are temporary because their founding reasons are petty. They are not strong. Whichever demigod they worship, that demigod they obtain. But my devotees come to me and my oneness they attain. So with desires, when they try to reach a particular direction, they go to that. Some people say, I want to reach this particular step. I want to reach Chandraloka only. So they go to Chandraloka because they have done sadhana, they have done tapasya. But there are others who come directly to me. Since we have so many examples of Tukaram only, you see, Tukaram had even not asked for moksha. He said, I want to get another birth on this earth so I can serve you again. Tukamane amasi, sukhe galave garbhavasi. Give me another birth in this mortal world. But he got a Sadeha Vaikuntha because of his karma. So there are others, Krishna says, some they reach their status by their sadhana because that desire is very strong. And so that even though it's connected with the divine, they go, but it's a temporary thing, Krishna says. But my devotees come to me, meaning they get moksha. The others are still caught in that karma bandhana. They'll have to come back again, is what he says. Krishna goes on. Avyaktam vyaktimapannam manyante mama buddhayaha param bhavam ajananto mam avyayam anuttamam. The minds ignorant and small consider me the unmanifest, who is limited and finite and cannot wholly manifest. For they know not the truth of my being immutable and supreme, most perfect and imperishable. Krishna says those with limited intelligence, they don't understand that I am there, I am my presence, my truth, my existence. They say, no, I cannot man. Like there are people I've heard, I pity God. God is so weak. God is so, I feel sad. I have a better vision for the world than God. That means so poor. God is like this. God is like that. I don't think God gets insulted by it, or the divine is impersonal, is what we can say imperishable also, and is perfect. But what happens to that individual? That individual is driven by that narrow-minded view because he is now greater than the entire universe according to him or her, his way of thinking. That way he closes his chance of receiving a particular knowledge. In the Isha Upanishad also, it is a very fine, subtle, they say Vidya and Avidya. Both have to be transcended. There are one side is Avidya, another side is Vidya. So one side you get trapped, you will get trapped there only. Somebody who has got into that Vidya will get trapped in Vidya only. Somebody who is in Avidya will be trapped there only. What happens there? You will be in one end, one other person will be the opposite end of the spectrum. Why? What is the difference? Ravana, Sri Aurobindo said, was the black side of Rama. Both two sides of the same coin. But Krishna talks about this person who is able to understand will actually rise higher. Like it is said, reconciliation of opposites. Isn't the Gita about the reconciliation of opposites? The material and the spiritual. Such high ideal principles and practical knowledge also. That reconciliation is what is important. But somebody who doesn't ever recognize the divine or realize the presence cannot bring about this. He instead spent his entire time ridiculing, belittling the God. There's actually a religion also for belittling God. They have formed it. It's called Discordianism. I came to know about it from my friend only, who was a devout follower of that religion for a few years. He had a very horrible, I actually looked up to him as a child. So when I caught him on Facebook, I thought when I grew up, I will go and he will be sitting as the HR manager giving me a job. That was what I thought. But it was a complete letdown speaking to him. And I said, what about you? What's your life? He said, yeah. I said, how have you married or settled? I have a girlfriend. Okay, what are you going to do? I'm doing nothing. What do you want to do? I don't want to do anything. He said, I may have biological children. I was like, what is the meaning of biological children? But his mind is driven. He's just driven by those thoughts. And for 2 years, but I had just joined my teacher and I felt these thoughts will trouble me more. until I am quiet and calm in my head. I don't want to engage in any dialogue with this person. 2 years later, when I contacted him again, when I felt, chalo, I can have a conversation with him, he says, that was old. I have now gone into one more state. I am no more in that religion also. Meaning, what is happening? Well, this person is running, and it's a beautiful Atma Jivatma, because I remember him as a child, he had drawn different devatas, and just age of what we can say 6. He had shown me so many different photos of drawings of so many devats. So I imagined in my mind that I will always meet this person. As I had got out of touch with him, he would be on some pedestal, but I was very surprised. So this is what happens. Despite best knowledge, despite best intelligence, when we get trapped in Maya, this is what happens. So it's best to recognize, but again, recognition cannot be artificially imposed. We have to seek sincerely, and no, don't have to worry about realizing. You can question God, you can have your questions, you can be atheistic if you want to, but don't stop asking the question until you really get the answer. Otherwise, you are likely to get trapped. That is Maya. Krishna says, he says, Naham prakashaha sarvasya. Excuse me. Hari Om. Naham prakashaha sarvasya yoga maya samavrutaha mudhoyam nabhijanati loko mamajam avyayam. To all beings I am not revealed, for behind Maya's veil I am concealed. The world is hoodwinked and bewildered about my immortal truth. It hasn't pondered. Krishna says this world has never tried to recognize the divine. They are trapped in their own game. They are bewildered by it. Just something like that in our action, in the flux of activities. Sometimes people say, when I was in school, I was busy because I was in school. I had so many assignments. When I went to college, I got busy in college life. When I went to work, I got busy in work life plus family life. Then when are you going to get free? Are you going to wait for a particular auspicious time which will come from Krishna, or you can be free while doing everything and be conscious and search? Divine is present everywhere. Why do we have to find him in one particular place only? But Krishna says Maya prevents us from realizing it. Krishna goes on. This shloka almost appears like Krishna is sharing his sorrow to us. Krishna is supposed to be in the state of Ananda always. But as a poet, I can say this much, that if at all Krishna has one small sorrow, which is not disturbing his Ananda, but somewhat we can say complaint. If he has one complaint from mortals, this is the one. He says, excuse me, Vedaham samatitani vartamanani charjuna bhavishyani cha bhutani mam tu veda na kaschana. Oh Arjuna, the past, present and the future of every existence I know for sure. Though I know equally about every living one, with the knowledge of my existence, there is none. So it's like a friend who is saying, see, I know everybody's stories, but see, nobody wants to know about my story. Nobody is understanding my full truth. Like that, Krishna is saying, I know everything. I know the past, I know the present, I know the future. Meaning, if I fell down today, Krishna already knows. He knows why I have fallen down. He knows what I had done previously also. He knows what I'm going to do afterwards. But look at me, I am trapped in my ignorance and I have not tried to understand the divine. That is what Krishna is saying. This is Maya. There's a beautiful kavali. It's like, तूने क्या बनाई, तूने क्या सजाई, सब किया है तो उसने, तूने बातें बनाई. Everything is done by the divine. You only created stories that I did this, I did that. Just we will go back in life also of all the great things that we have done. If you just think that, it's not just done independently. There were so many people, so many factors, so many things. That does not come until this ankar is shed, or when a person is trapped in Maya, he cannot see anything beyond himself or herself. Krishna goes on. We stop at the next shloka. Ichcha dvesha samuthena dvandva mohena bharata sarvabhutani sammoham sarge yanti parantapa. Krishna says, in likes and dislikes, they are lost in desire's illusion. By the dualities of aversion and dislike, they are deluded. And from truth's gnosis, they are excluded. Oh Arjuna, bewildered is every living creation. Meaning, we have our likes, we have our dislikes. But we get carried away by our likes and dislikes. So what if Krishna comes in a form we don't like? Will we say, Krishna, go away, I don't want you. Come in a form which I like. Well, this is what happens in our life. Illusion is we are trapped because of our own preferences. Sometimes big changes happen in our life just because of our liking and disliking, because our decisions are governed by our own desires, likes and dislikes. Krishna is saying because of this, there is a aversion. Means even hatred. Why we should we have hatred? Somebody asked me today, is the Gita talking about having hatred for the wrong? No. Hatred is also a big problem. If you have hatred, it will consume the person who's having it. Your Vivek Buddhi will get brashta. So you should not have aversion also. You should not have hatred also. Don't like. It's okay. You don't have to like everything or you have to dislike nothing. Something like that. People will have choices. But getting carried away by them, it is the biggest problem. And people lose their understanding because of this. And that is why every creature is bewildered. I think since we have 3 more shlokas, we'll just try to conclude this Adhyay. 7th Adhyay will be over today. So to next week, we can start with the 8th Adhyay. It's an interesting Adhyay. It's the Adhyay on death. Arjuna is going to have some interesting questions. Krishna goes on, Yesham tvantagatam papam jaranam punya karmanam te dvandva moha nirmukta bhajante mam dhrudavrataha. By those virtuous men who are from sin freed, who have given up their every material need, steadfastly they believe in my overlordship and engage devotedly in my worship. So those virtuous men, they understand that there is the Ishvara Sarva Bhutanam, he is the Adipati, he is the Mata, he is the Dhata, he is the Pitamaha, he is the Karaka, he is everything that people who are virtuous, they understand the divine and so they worship the divine steadfastly, recognizing the divine is governing everything in their life. And so they are having naturally a devotion and Shraddha. That beauty and appreciation for it automatically connects us. That is why we should have an eye which is open to beauty in the world also. We must learn to appreciate what is fine, what is perfect, experience what they say, rasa of creation, isn't it? Krishna is all about what is the leela of life. Experience it with the ananda of the divine when you are participating. Don't be trapped in Maya, Krishna says, but experience the leela. Become conscious of the divine is what he's saying. And that is why they worship and they adore the divine. Krishna goes on, such people who have crossed, they have crossed the what we can say threshold of desires and they're able to reach to the higher state of consciousness. He says, Jara Marana Mokshaya Mama Shritya Yatanti Ye Te Brahma Tat Viduhu Krutsnam Adhyatmam Karma Chakhilam. Seeking my refuge, these beings to me bow, meaning they bow to the divine. Sometimes it is so difficult for somebody to bend their head. They feel this is the most head. As if bowing to the divine is like bowing to the enemy and enemy will cut our heads. It's not like that. Surrendering to the divine. Do it personally, do it privately, not in front of anybody, but at least do it. It's important. They realize once, recognize it, so they bow and they don't have any qualms about bowing. Such ones who take refuge and shelter in the divine completely. Sharanam Gacchami, Buddham, Krishnam, whichever Aradhya you have, connect, take the Sharana. Krishna says, and from cyclic births and death, they seek release. They experience Brahma's knowledge and peace and the integral knowledge of divine karma. They know, they understand the Divya karma, the purpose, the meaning of life, the reason for all these karmas which have to be done by everybody. They're able to understand it, is what Krishna is saying. They experience that knowledge, they experience the Shanti also. Krishna goes on, Sadhibhutadi Daivam Mam Sadhi Yajnam Chaye Viduhu Prayana Kale Pitchamamte Vidiryakta Chetasa. Recognizing me to be the supreme living one, the primordial master and receiver of sacrifices of everyone. At the critical moment of death, when they are aware of me, they attain a merger and unite into my ethereal sea. Krishna has suddenly talked about death right now. And he said, even at the Prayana Kala is called the moment of death when it occurs. Nobody can tell when it comes. I cannot say it will come after 20 years or 50 years or 80 years. I cannot say it will not come now also. I am taking class. I cannot give a guarantee about anything. That is the nature of our Srishti. But Krishna says this Prayana Kala, at this moment, when you are able to recognize the divine, that supreme one in your mind, in that consciousness, even at that moment, he says, that person is going to become one with the divine. My question is, isn't this a paradox? Krishna is asking you to remember at Prayana Kala, but nobody knows Prayana Kala. So then we are not going to be successful only, isn't it? Or there is some way we can be successful. Anybody? Yes? We'll stop with this shloka. This Adhyay is complete. It gets a very different turn because probably death shakes everybody like that. Arjuna is also going to get shaken by Krishna in the next Adhyay. And there will be a transformation in Arjuna as well. He'll no more remain that skeptic. He will become transformed. But yes, how do we know at this? If we don't know the Prayana Kala, what is the point of Krishna telling us, remember, if you remember at Prayana Kala? Yes, sir. Kulkarni ji. Yes, sir.
You remember him throughout your life.
Okay.
That is the only solution.
That's the only solution.
No
Okay,
other
there's a
solution.
constant remembrance of the divine only.
Yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely. And for being able to do that, I think Badrinath ji wants to add something.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
I don't know what he wants to tell. Is it at the critical moment, means just before death, when you realize that now I am suffering too much, I am going to die? Does he say that is the time, even if you realize you become one with me? Does he say that?
Yeah, he's saying that, but the problem is nobody knows when is that exact time except the yogis. Yogis are able to understand it. Otherwise, they're all like, no, sometimes there are people. I have seen some people who are very, very shanti, having peaceful nature, peaceful swabhava. One person talked about, actually, I know one person, he said, I am passing, Passing. He told the entire spelling as if I should understand the spelling also properly. He was so calm and peaceful in his last moment. Somebody else, well, what we have seen is yogis, they are free from desires. So they are calm and peaceful, and that time Smaran is possible. But otherwise, mind is lost in desire. In that time, that person, no, ye property usko nahi jayega. Usne mujhe insult kiya. That person insulted me. I will not give this to that person. This will not happen there. That will, all kind of thoughts. We cannot fool the divine also. A bad person decides that I'll do all bad in my life. Just before my last moment, I'll say Krishna's name. But he is not smarter than the divine, isn't it? You do your karma, you will have consequence of karma. One person was like that. He did all the corruption, everything he did. But when he felt sick, doctor told him, you don't have much time to live. So he said, all right, let me start. And he was on the inside laughing because I have done all this wrong. So simple it is. This Shastra has told, if I have this Smarana, I will get moksha. What happened is, in the last moment, he was uttering the divine name. That punya does not go waste, as Krishna has told. But his son came with a glass of water and he dropped it. He got angry and he shouted at a swear word at his son. And that was the last word he spoke. So what happened to his whole intellectual plan of fooling the divine with his using the word? So it is not lip service to the divine. It is a Shraddha which has to come from the Atman. Om Prakash ji wants to share something. Yes, sir.
No, in a lighter mode.
Yes.
Earlier, our parents used to keep the name of their children on the God's name, so that at least you remember your son or daughter. So automatically you realize the divine. That was something.
Yes.
One of the things was done earlier.
Absolutely. That is true. But only thing is, they would not call with that bhakti bhav. Say, Narayana, come here. There is. Yes. Deepali ji wants to add something. Yes, after which we'll conclude. Yes.
That Bhaja Govindam, Bhaja Govindam, Bhaja Govindam.
Govindam Bhaja Mudamate. Yes.
Samprapte Sannihite Marane Nahine Rakshati Dukrum Karane. So we have to take name always. That will save us from that miserable death.
Yes, absolutely. We can say that, or we can become conscious is what we will see the next Adhyay, because the journey of yogis is different from the journey of bhogi. That is what Krishna is going to talk. Next Adhyay is going to be about something which is a metaphysical concept of post-life journey. Because everyone's experience stops at life. But there are experiences, I think, if participants have, you can also share as the Adhyay goes on. We keep hearing of people giving certain experiences of really liberated people they have met. Like my sister was called by in her 90s, one sadhika, Kusumben of the ashram, a very senior person from the perfumery department. She was called for last day before she passed away. She had called all the people she was connected with. We were all worried. We were all surprised because this is not something a sadhak usually does. Why did she call? And my sister went. She said she's met her. She was very sweet. She was very nice. All this she was speaking. We were all wondering, what is this? Something different. And my sister, remember, she was fully fine. She came, she touched her back lovingly, like a mother does. And she asked, did you like the food? Everything is okay. Like a perfect host. She went, attended to everybody. Next day, early morning, she's passed away in sleep. How did she know, or what was the reason? She didn't want to keep even one runa unpaid, meaning all people who have been nice, I will complete my whatever good they have done, like that. And maybe she had a conscious realization of it also. We don't know. That the Atman only knows, or the individual only. But yogis are different. They are Prayanakala. And right now, Arjuna is entering into a Mrityu Kshetra only, isn't it? Kurukshetra, death is going to be standing there, blaring from all sides in a battlefield. So Krishna probably feels right now, Arjuna needs to understand. In many spiritual paths, this is very important to understand death. It is not to be feared. It's not to be, what we can say, emotionally become broken by it. Instead, accepting and moving on, that is so important. Unless you accept, you cannot move on. It will always remain like that. And even in Buddhist tradition, that is the first thing. To go on the Buddhist mark, you have to recognize this. This is the truth of life. No matter what you say, you cannot say it does not exist, isn't it? But how do we meet? How do we go? That is something. So we will see 8th Adhyay. What is it? How is it connected? Well, this is actually Arjuna who is going to ask a question triggered by this Prayana Kala. Maybe Arjuna has some own insecurity about himself. So he wants to know. Let us see. We will see on Monday, the next Adhyay, which is the 8th Adhyay of the Gita. Hari Om. I'll conclude with the Shanti Mantra. If any queries are there, you are most welcome. Sarve bhavantu sukhinah, sarve santu niramayah, sarve bhadrani pashyantu, ma kasyit dukkha bhag bhavet. Hari Om Tat Sat. Krishnam Munde Jagat Gurum. Hari Om. Hari Om ji. Any queries? Most
Hari Om.
welcome.
Hari Om.
Hari Om.
Hari Om ji. Hari Om ji. Namaste.
Hari Om.
Hari Om.
Hari Om.
Hari Om ji. Hari Om ji. Hari Om. Hari Om. Hari Om ji. Any queries? Most welcome, or we'll conclude the session. Yes, please. Vinita ji, are you speaking something? I'm unable to hear you.
I have a question.
Yes.
When you were explaining, you said, Kia, whichever form you worship, he says, if you worship some other demigod, the person will go to that demigod. If you worship me, you will come to me.
Yeah.
What does that mean? That means you should only worship Krishna, or you can, or if जैसे बोलते हैं कि आपकी श्रद्धा, because we are with a form, we also worship with a form. Okay, fine. So I have I worship some form, which I feel, I can connect with that form.
Yes.
Yes. So what does this mean?
Vinita ji, have you heard of this Namatu Paradaivatam? Have you heard of this statement? Means there is no greater God than Mother. The person's Shraddha is like this. If he worships to the Mother, the bhava of worship is what is important. And Krishna, when he refers to him, he is not referring to the Krishna Swarup only. He is connecting himself with the Paramatman. If you say, "नहीं, मैं मानता नहीं हूँ कृष्ण को, मैं मानती नहीं हूँ कृष्ण को, मुझे तो ये वाले भगवान ज़्यादा पसंद है." Krishna will not say, "I got insulted because you said to this Bhagwan. Now I am very much upset. You see, my points have come down because that God has got more worshippers." So he is not caring about that. But what we were looking at is people worship with desires. So they connect with the desires, and later on in the Adhyay, look at the tantrics, they worship with the elements, isn't it? And the Mahabhutas, Panchamahabhutas, Krishna says, those who worship those, what you seek, you get that. So they become one with the Panchamahabhutas only. Somebody else is going to this particular marga, he goes there. And his life journey also, post journey is taken that way. So Krishna is not talking about, no, mera naam se hi karo, then I will get happy. He's not, he says, don't call me, don't worship me also is fine. But that bhava of worship means not with an arbitrary want of something in return. Instead, let it be. Don't say, I don't like Krishna. It's all right. He will not mind. Go to whichever Devat, whichever Aradhya you feel, and he says it all comes to one place. Somebody else may not like it. Like yes, ji.
Then there was second point also, like, okay, fine. जैसे कि बच्चे, children will ask from parents only, right? So because we are living in this world of Maya, which is created by him only, and he is only sent us here, he is only observing us, he is doing everything, okay, fine.
Yes.
And then he says ki don't pray for, don't pray to God for desires. Okay, I understood कि desires के लिए pray करने से better होता है कि आप जो भी आप है उसके लिए आप थैंकफुल रहो गॉड को, दैट इज मोर इम्पोर्टेंट. मतलब कि कोई भी है, अगर आपके दरवाजे पे भी आप हमेशा भीख मांगते रहोगे किसी के यहाँ जाके, तो कोई भी आपको इरिटेट होगा. वैसे भगवान से आप हमेशा मांग नहीं सकते हो, कभी आपको भगवान को थैंक्स भी देना है कि उन्होंने आपको जो कुछ दिया है उसके लिए.
Okay, जी. Okay, so the question.
Now the question here is कि he says ना कि if you want anything you can ask me also. वो भी बोलते हैं.
No, that is not said in this Gita. I told it is because otherwise people rigidly, when somebody is not at all, what we can say, means a small, what we can say, prayer I want to make, कि भगवान ये दे देना. Because at least the sadhana, in the initial state of sadhana, nobody will directly reach to that place. So small prayers you can ask. And if you do not ask to your Aradhya, where will you ask? Krishna has said any offering, make it sincere, let it come. But don't bind with a condition कि मुझे ये मिला तो ही. For example, now yesterday I was not sure if I will be able to take the Gita Varga because I was feeling a little unwell. So I said, I was like, hey, my inner prayer only, ki, boss, please allow me to take this Varga without any difficulty. But when my Guru told me, do you want to cancel it? I said, if I am not capable, I will put a message and I think people will understand. But for me, I'm in the factory, I'm alone. I like his company of the divine. When I talk, for me, it is my personal relation that, chalo, I can have dialogue. I can say, I can make this. For me, I can ask prayers. But if he does not grant me the prayer, does not mean my relation with him will break. So that we don't want. Meaning you ask children, when you say children, you tell, better don't ask your mother for chocolate. If the children doesn't ask for mother, whom will they ask? When they grow up, they will understand that this is not required. Until that stage, it is just for a generalization. But this Adhyay doesn't explicitly talk about that. This explicitly talks about how a beautiful connection is without a arbitrary condition appointed to the divine. But again, means there are beautiful prayers which we can ask to the divine. Give me strength, give me wisdom, give me knowledge, give me all of it. We don't have to put a if clause. If you don't give me, I will forget you. Or if you don't give this, that is what we should remove. Asking, aspiring, because it is human nature to aspire. Arjuna he's aspiring to get the knowledge. He's aspiring to identify what is the right path. So that aspiration is allowed.
I mean, what is there is not to put a condition with the God कि आप मेरा ये काम कर दोगे तो मैं आपका पूजा करूँगा.
Absolutely.
That is okay.
Because that binds us. That binds us, not the God. We think we are binding God in that condition, but it is we who are limiting our potential of growth. When will we understand that if you say Bhagwan is Gunatit, he is Shara Aksharatit also, he is Chinmaya, he is Anandamaya. And if we are trapped in these desires only, our consciousness will never try to go and connect with that. What is that Satchidananda Brahma if we are trapped with our desires? So probably you can use this as a madhyam, as Krishna said, I don't refuse. Means he will not say no. If I say a prayer and ask for something in return, he might give me that. But while receiving it, I should understand that no, this may not always happen. And I don't need to go after this path only. And this is not why I am worshipping the divine, because he's answering that becomes a business deal, isn't it? If you had some kind of power to hear the prayers of people and you go to a temple, you will find so many transactions taking place. Everybody is saying, usko promotion mat dena, mujhe promotion nahi dena, isko ye karo. God is going to get confused. One person in the village, he's a potter, he is asking, give me good sun rays. The neighbor is a farmer, he says, give me rain. Now what is going to happen in this condition? God will give rain or God should give? So the God is in a higher pedestal. We, because of our mental calculation, logic, we do that, Vinita ji. Yes,
but I mean, what I'm saying is that sometimes, like, okay, just as an example I'm giving, that sometimes if somebody is unwell in the family, then you say, okay, you pray to God.
Yes, mother can pray for a child. But when you become that I am doing healing for everybody, I am a pranic healer, I am taking prana,
No,
wrong prana of this
no, I'm not
person.
talking of that.
Not that.
I'm not saying that. I'm saying, but when that this is the times like people will pray ki matlab ye theek ho jaye ya wo theek ho jaye.
Yes, yes, it is
Then
not
somebody
wrong.
is-
It is not. It is not wrong. That's
हाँ,
not wrong. That becomes your
हाँ,
dharma, no? That
हाँ,
becomes your dharma.
हाँ. I mean,
That every day we pray
I
prayer.
understand. भाई जिसके पास अगर पैसे नहीं है वो गरीब तो बोलेगा कि भाई भगवान पैसे की वर्षा कर दो. I'm just giving an example. हाँ, किसी को संतान
Yes,
नहीं तो
yes,
बोलेगा भगवान मुझे संतान दे दो. तो people will
yes,
definitely
yes.
pray. People will
They will
definitely
have
pray
that.
to
They will
get
have that.
something. हाँ,
Yes, yes. But
हाँ,
the higher prayer is even without that. That is all Krishna has touched upon today.
हाँ, हाँ.
But it's not wrong. It's not wrong. It's the sincerity of prayer that matters. That's all actually. Yes, ji. And that teacher is there. Why say we say Krishna Vande Jagat Gurum? The divine is the teacher. He will teach us through life experience, and we go ahead. We have to learn. And that is the important aspect. Yes, ji. Hari Om ji.
Hello.
Hari Om.
Hello.
Yes, Badnayan ji. Okay, you have something to share?
You
Yes, sir.
said if you ask all this, it becomes a lower form of prayer, no? Is it
Ji.
advisable
Yeah.
to
Yes, yes.
go ahead?
No, but what I want to say is Krishna has told that I don't call any prayer lower or higher. I accept everybody's devotion. So let us not, if somebody is saying you are giving a, what we can say, if somebody even wants to give instead of rose, I will give cabbage or cauliflower. We don't have to say, what is this? That is the shraddha of that person. Children in one house in Krishna's butter class for kids, this boy went and kept his car in front of the Ganesha. The mother asked him, why did you keep this? Why have you kept this car inside of the Devghar? Because it's a sacred place. He said, no, now Ganesh Chaturthi is coming. Our Ganesha will want to go and travel across the city. So for him, I kept my car. So he has kept his favorite car. Now, do you think mother will get insulted or Ganesha will get insulted by this offering? No, it is a sincere offering. His understanding according to the nature, growth is required. When we reach that state, we should go there, but we should not pronounce on anybody else's devotion. That is one thing Krishna is teaching us. When Bhagwan himself is not saying, I don't tell this prayer is wrong. We cannot say somebody's prayer is lower or higher. Many people say then, no, those people, they are worshipping Grama Devatas. They are having a very wrong perspective. Who knows, if you go in our villages, if there are, each village has got a Grama Devat, people have got anubhavs. That is their experience. And we cannot say they are non-spiritual at all. Some will say this is very aghori, this is not like this is like that. We don't need to put a judgment on anybody's prayer. At least from our side, we can try, because Krishna says the highest, because all desires or expectations have an expiry date. So we just try to remove that from our prayer to make it a more fulfilled prayer. That is what we can try. But Krishna is not fussy. He's not fussy about the type of prayer. He's not fussy about the Adhyay also. He doesn't say you have to worship somebody or you don't have to worship somebody.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Hari Om.
All right, sir. Hari Om. Hari Om. Namaste.
Hari Om.
Hari Om. Jai Shri Krishna.
Hari Om.
Hari Om.
Jai Shri
Hari Om.